Get Warrior Tough. Mental Training 101 with Andrew Wittman and Dutch Coleman on 105.5 The Roar. And now back to Andrew and Dutch.
Dutch is getting mad. And you don't like Dutch when he gets angry. I'm telling you. Think abusive coaching is bad. Don't get Dutch angry. Come on, Richard. Quit getting Dutch angry.
You know, some people will say, I don't like him when he's not angry. So, hey.
Dutch, tell the truth in love. Love to tell the truth. Yeah. So, okay, let's pick up on this. I love this crime boss analogy because that's really what was going on. This is what I think. And when you explained it to me, you laid it out. I've seen this happen at the highest levels of, I've been behind the political curtain. I know, and this is what I used to tell my contractors at the State Department, the SEALs, the Rangers, the Marines. First day on the class, I tell them, you are Ollie North. The reason the State Department uses us as contractors is for plausible deniability. You are the cutout. If it breaks bad, it will not be an international incident. It'll be those crazy contractors, and you will go to jail.
Mm-hmm. And do not fall for what we call the Okie-Doke. When those coaches say, oh, yeah, there's no way he would have known. Why? He can't know everything. Really? That's why the big crime guy never goes to jail. They always get the middle guy. They always get the middle managers in corporate America. They never get the head guy. It's built that way.
Except for Enron.
Plausible.
They were so dumb they left their stuff wide open. Never mind. Don't.
The idea of plausible deniability alone will get you out of a situation. So when you have already entered that into people's mind, you already placed that into the minds of people.
Yeah.
You're already halfway home. You're already halfway in the clear.
Right.
And so if I'm doing something tomorrow and I'm the big guy, I'm putting in layers of protection as I go. I'm making these plans. These guys know what the plan is. These guys know what the risks are. That's why when the low level drug dealer goes to jail, the big guy takes care of his family.
Yeah.
They're in there. They're doing a 5-year bid. And their mom's rent's paid, their baby mama and their kids are taken care of and all that. And it was because that big guy they didn't get nowhere near that big guy.
Well, this is what happens if you get recruited to Ole Miss too, right?
Yeah. Oh.
Wait a minute. Sorry. Wait a minute. They'll take care of you if you come down. No, wait. Yeah. What's up, Chad Kelly? Oh, yeah.
But really, there are things put in place that protect the big guy. Now, the thing that is going to get me is the day that the little guy starts to turn over. But see, there's no money and there's no future in turning over and rolling over.
No.
There's no future in that. A lot of times, in some cases, it's going to get you dead. But in cases like this, you're not going to have a career anymore.
Yeah, you just won't have you're done with the coaching. It's over.
Yes, and we know McGee had to resign over at UMKC. He was fired, resigned, whatever you want to call it.
He's out.
Now, the question...
Is he going to get hired at Louisville?
Right.
They're going to wait a year and hire him back.
The question is when the Patsies begin to see the worst case scenario, will they begin to roll over with it? But historically, they still don't roll over. Because you got to think about this, Andrew. What happened, or what is happening, because I still believe it was happening at Louisville, is happening a bunch of places. 99.9% of the time, you're not getting caught, so it's worth the risk. Think about all the years that's passed.
Yeah, statistically, it's almost like getting eaten by a shark. It's almost zero.
So if I'm a graduate assistant, and I've been in and around this business, the graduate assistants and the assistant coaches that, quote-unquote, gets players, they get jobs. So they don't describe how they get players. They just say he gets players.
Gets players. Okay.
He gets players. So you have to have the reputation of getting players. And again, you're not assessing the risk. The big guy is assessing the risk. You're doing the dirty work. I got to get your sign off because I got to know that whatever we're doing, number one, is bulletproof. I'm bulletproof. I got to know that I got to approve of the different levels of protection that you have around me. How is this going to work? What are you going to do? How much money do you need? Because I'm giving you the money. We know that GA, I've been a GA. That GA is not going to have
you a GA?
Oh, absolutely. He's not going to have thousands of dollars. And they said he was getting bankroll. He was getting cash that was wrapped. Brand new stacks of money.
You ever get that as a GA, man?
No, not as a GA.
Well, that's a good deal. Not as a GA. So you've had that before.
I got it different ways, but I said I'd never dance again. So that's
yeah.
So
the Magic Mike abs are covered. The Magic Dutch abs. If I had your abs, dude, I would not be trying to make it in mental toughness, dude. Yeah.
But you see what I'm saying? They're
You're
involved.
Patrick Swayze and I'm Chris Farley.
They're involved. But they're involved in the process, but not to their detriment. So there are vehicles in place that keeps me away, that keeps my hands clean.
Yeah.
And these GAs, man, he got a job at UMKC, and I guarantee you it was on the strong recommendation of Ricky Pitino. See, I call him Ricky now.
Yeah, Coach Richard.
And so any jobs, and that's how these GAs get jobs.
Yeah,
They go and they do that dirty work for a couple
You
years.
kiss the ring.
And they move on
The
to a nice
Godfather.
assistant, and
Yeah.
they're a part of the Pitino family.
They call it the coaching tree.
Yes. And
So, I mean,
once you're a part of that, you're able to move around within that world with the best of the best. And anytime that Rick picks up that phone and recommends you to a job, you have a better chance of getting it to that guy who's Dutch Coleman's calling for you.
yeah, like, because, yeah. Wait, that guy's got good abs, though.
But that's what it is. So if you're out there and you're hearing all this nonsense, don't fall for the Okie-Doke. Yes, he knew. No, they're not going to be able to prove he knows. There's only one guy that can say it, and it's going to take McGee to roll over. But he knows, we know, and he knows that we know. But if you can't prove it, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Right. And, maybe he learned from Nixon and doesn't have the tapes, and he destroyed the tapes of all the conversations. Right. But so now I want to move on to another aspect of this. This is what I said on Qualk's show on Out of Bounds earlier when we kind of talked about this during the mental toughness segment, is that I'm putting it on the kids. And people are like, what? And so, man, if you're a 17 or an 18-year-old kid, you don't have to go to the sex party, man. Mm-hmm. And I said, when I was an 18-year-old Lance Corporal, listen, my mom and dad were missionaries. I was a preacher's kid, right? I couldn't even go to movies. There wasn't any listening to the rock and roll, none of that. Nothing, okay? Mm-hmm. So what do normally kids do as soon as they're out of the house and they don't have adult supervision is that they go wild. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm in the United States Marine Corps, man. I ain't got no adult supervision. In fact, I'm in the Philippines. I deployed to the Philippines. And my managers, what you say, the graduates, the sergeants and the corporals, they want to go take Wittman out and get him drunk and get him laid because, he's a virgin. Let's get his cherry popped and all that, right? So, the story. I told it to you that I said I agreed I would go with them for one place, but they would have to go one place with me. And, of course, I found a Bible study in Subic Bay, right on Olongapo Drive in the middle of the sex trade industry. It was an awful Bible study. It was awful. I'm telling you, it was if I had a Glock, I would have ate it. That's how bad the thing was. But I made them sit in there for an hour, and that was the end of them trying to corrupt me. And I'm an 18-year-old kid. With the cleanest mouth in the Marine Corps, never, if I said you goofball, that's as much swearing as I would do, right? So, and my kids, listen, Drew and Jack, man, Jack runs the board, Drew's on the way to Citadels, they're, 17, 15. I've already parented. They know when it's right and when it's wrong and not to do it, or if they make the decision to do it, they know it's wrong. And I trust them to make those decisions because I've trained them in the way that they should go. And so now you didn't have, now Sue Qualk's like, well, that's great if you had a great family. You tell me about your son,
I'm going to tell you this. I grew up in the belly of the beast in the gutter.
Yep.
Now, I did have my dad at different points in my life, and I did have him at the most important points in my life. And my dad trusted me to make the right decision. And when I was in high school, I made the right decision a lot. I mean, he gave me the freedom to do different things I did. Now, I'm going to tell you this right here in the interest of transparency. I would have fell for the Okie-Doke with that. I would have been probably doing those things that those recruits would have been doing at 17, 18. Because at 17, 18, that sounded pretty darn good to me. So, and I say that to say that I'm blaming me and I'm blaming the adults that are supplying that, because there's a level of 17 and 18-year-olds that they're supposed to be dumb. And then there's a responsibility that's placed on leadership in a collegiate level that's supposed to say, and they're actually, your parents are actually told, we're going to take care of your son. We're going to look out for your son.
The Marine Corps said that too.
Right.
Now, we're going to take care of him. Don't you worry a thing about him.
And so you have a bunch of 17, 18-year-olds that are smart enough to know right from wrong, and they shouldn't have been doing it. And then you have the leadership. The leadership that have a greater responsibility.
No, I agree with you, man. I agree with you.
And then you have leadership. And then you have the women of the night that were doing their thing, that were doing stuff that's flat out illegal. The solicitation is flat out illegal. So everybody was wrong.
Everybody's wrong. There's no right anywhere in this whole thing from A to Z.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
That's what bothers me is that we're trying to flip the script. And depending on where we're sitting or where we're standing, we're pointing a bigger finger at this or that. They're all wrong. And again, I'm going to reiterate, I'm not judging anyone because I can see myself in that situation where I would have made the mistake. Now, I made a lot of right choices in my life, but I made some wrong ones too. And I believe, going back to that, I probably would have fell for that, and I would have been caught up in that nonsense, and it would have been all on me because I knew better. But we have to consider the leadership and hold them to a higher standard, because when it's just me, I'm responsible for me, and I can screw up my life. The leadership can screw up a group of lives.
Yeah, no,
all in one fell swoop, and we saw that with the multiple kids that were involved in all that.
Absolutely.
So the leadership has a greater responsibility because they're guiding an organization of young men when I'm largely responsible for one, and that's hard enough.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, man.
And so these leaders, and I use that term lightly, these people that were placed in leadership positions, I'll say, are failing miserably, and they're failing the families, they're failing the system, they're failing the kids, they're failing everybody. And that's why I hold them to a higher level of responsibility while still putting my foot in the kids' behinds.
Yeah, and I know what you're saying, but I think I look at our generation and the baby boomer generation. I know this is painting with a broad brush, but not really doing that great of raising kids. And I think this next generation coming up, and my wife just saw it at the Citadel. She's looking around at these kids and going, wow, there is hope for this country. And I'm hoping this next generation, these 18-year-olds, these 17-year-olds rise up and say, you know what, regardless of the leadership, we're sick of business being done the way it's being done and the decline in our culture, the decline in our society, and we're going to step up to the plate because some generations have to do it. And that's, I think that's what happened with the World War II generation. That group of people, we call them the greatest generation, stepped up. And so I'm hoping that this group now coming up will say, you know what, enough's enough, and let's do the right thing.
Well, I hope you're right, but I'm afraid that you guys probably, on that visit, you probably witnessed the less than 5%.
Yeah, I know. I know.
And we just hope that all of them get the leadership positions in this country.
Well, and that's why the Citadel pumps out leaders, man. I mean, you know, so, and anyway, our hour's gone, dude. Do you believe that?
Amazing. It always is amazing how
Before we go, I want everybody to know that while I'm staying here at Dutch's house, he had me in the basement on the floor. And I have my Arctic sleeping bag, and you could hang meat down there in the basement. It's so cold, I was freezing, okay? So I get up, and he doesn't even have a coffee maker in the house, so I have to go for like 6 miles into town to get coffee. I find a gas station. I come back. The Clemson game's already on, right? I walk in, and I'm like, I walk into the basement. Dutch is down there sitting on the floor. He's got this big Penn State sweatshirt on, his sweatpants on. He's in his socks, no shoes. The TV's on, and the heat is on. I'm like, dude, the heat's on. He's like, my toes were cold. I'm like, I'm down here all night in an Arctic sleeping bag. Your toe gets cold, and you turn the heat on. I'm hanging meat down here sleeping all night, dude. And then I go out and get my own coffee. You got the heat on when I come back. What's up with that, man?
I got 2 words for Andrew. External factors. Those are all external factors.
Oh, yeah, they were. Yeah. My toes got cold. I turned the heat on.
Look, this is a prime example of how you're the CEO of you. You don't let those external factors bother you.
They didn't bother me. I just thought it was very telling.
I was testing your mental toughness.
Yeah, how'd I do? Thanks, buddy. I'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.